Oh, what is up? Oh, wait, hold on. All right. What's up? What's up? What's up? See, now where's my chat with this? You guys know I'm so bad at setting up. But once I get set up, we're getting going. Oh, mic check. 1 2 1 2. You want to beef with the king? What is you gonna do? Can you hear me all right? You know what? We want audio input capture off. How do I sound? Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. You just so hit them up. I appreciate the follow-up message. How do I sound, by the way? Do I sound all right? Gotta make sure mic's not blocking. I don't think I'm too loud. So let me know how I sound, and then I'll get into it. All right, cool. Eric, thank you very much. If the sound gets a little weird, you keep me posted. Thank you, Snackin80. Well, we have Vaquero and his wife here, the winner of last week. For those of you who caught the live or caught the recap or just saw the poll, Vaquero was our dear Uber driver friend that got attacked by a meth head. And it's a great story. If you haven't here, I won't give any spoilers, but it was an overwhelming win for him. I think 71% of the votes. There's like 150 votes. And here, let me check. I'll bring it up. Let's see. Channel. Posts. There we go. 177 votes. Vaquero got 71%. And I mean, the man got punched in the back of his head and the car stolen. So I appreciate the other entries. But I mean, that's a tough story to go up against. So congratulations. I will be in contact with you for your dash camera. And something I want to mention, these videos are, brought to you by certain dash camera companies. But the dash camera you get will be contingent upon, my inventory. And then also I want to reach out because something I learned from this, it kind of surprised me because I'm the kind of person that less is more, but more is also more. So point of what I'm getting at is I've found that some people absolutely hate having dash cameras that record inside the car. I don't know if it's a matter of some people just hate being on camera. I do think there's an element of part of a dash camera is if you're always recording inside of the car, if you're a bad driver, if you're always texting and driving, if you're, doing things you shouldn't be doing while driving, what I'm talking about, that would not be good. Sorry, I have dirty joke in my head right now. Some of you got it. For those of you who don't, God bless you, sweet souls. I should have made that motion. But I was talking about drinking. Anyway, I know there's some friends of mine, if they saw that, they, would screenshot that, and that would come up every time I try to make fun of me. Anyway, so I guess some people don't like being recorded inside the car because it would, it would make them, guilty or whatever it is. So point is, I'll be reaching out, let you know, I'll let you know my inventory, and I'll let you know, or I'll ask you if you would want, inside the car only or just front and back. All right. So anyway, real quick before I get in here, let me just check check some of the comments. Specifically, hit them up. Don't know if that's a Tupac reference. If so, that he was my favorite artist growing up. It was the first album I ever burned off of LimeWire. That and Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction. So, I'm a millennial. We don't have our taste in music is good music. I guess Guns N' Roses a hair metal band. I don't know. I feel like they're a little harder than that. Hair metal. I think of like what's the one they made the movie about? Oh man, I'm blanking. The one they made the movie about. Machine Gun Kelly was in it, and as much as like I wanted to hate on him, I was like, wow, that was actually a pretty good performance. Starts with a V, not Van Halen. Maybe it doesn't start with a V. Someone will help me in the comments. Guns N' Roses, I don't know. I guess it's hair metal. I don't know. I feel like they're a little more like they're like rock and roll, punk rock, whatever it is. But yeah, so I had 90s rap and 80s rock, metal, whatever you call it, because I'm a millennial. Our only judgment is what's good, and that's why millennials produced the greatest time in culture in history. So you're welcome. Anyway, back to Hit 'Em Up. Don't know if it's Tupac reference. Regardless, I appreciate your second message, because when you said hi from Tbilisi, I don't even know how to say that. My first question was, I don't even know where that is. That's how Delco I am. A friend of mine the other day said, well, not the other day, this was a while ago. He was on spring break. He's a teacher, and he said he was going to Patagonia. And I was like, you're going to the coat factory on your break? Like, why are you doing that? And I didn't know that's a country in South America, I think. I think that was the one he was going to. But anyway, my point is, I guess Tbilisi is in Georgia. And no, I know, not the state Georgia. I'm actually half Armenian. And if I recall correctly, Georgia's not too far from Armenia. So, no, I have never tried Georgian food. I don't even know what that would be like. Colorado, what's up? Oh, thanks, Rillick. Love your videos, your philosophical waxings on people in the world. I have a driver story that I want to share today. Should I just write it up and send it to the email? Yes, please send it to the email. I won't be able to get to it today. It'll be on cue for next week. But I appreciate you saying you like the philosophical waxings. I don't know if it's a common thing with drivers. I think it is, but you just see so much. And you got so much time to think as you're driving. And as I've said before, driving is like my meditation. So, that's where I get lost. And, I think you learn a lot about life. So, I know sometimes I get a lot of comments on my videos where it's like too much talking. And it's like, what do you just want to watch a video and like feel bad about the world? Like, it's my freaking channel. If I want to talk about what happens, I'm going to talk about what happens. I'm not posting just to post to get attention. I like to share my thoughts. I like to tell a story. What's the point of talking about something if you're not going to talk about how you learned or grew or were entertained by it? You know what I mean? So back off if you're one of those who don't like me talking too much. But for people like you, Rillick the Fool, I appreciate you appreciating it. And I'm excited to hear your story. Get a dash cam pepper spray and be always aware, night or day. That's very true. Emily Arndt. I'll be honest, I'm not 100% on that pronunciation. Arndt. But Emily, shout out from Eric in Colorado, if I recall correctly. Sorry, guys, I'm so tired. I've had the craziest 72 hours, maybe. I'll tell you that story in a second. But it is like, I have not been sleeping. I know I said I'd be on here at 2, and it's 3. I have the craziest story. I'm just Delco Dan said this in a video once. He was talking about a crazy story himself, and you see, I can't even talk right now, and it like plays in my head a lot. Like, I don't want to say on the daily, but like a lot, especially when like crazy things happen. And he said in the video, he was like, "I'm just grateful to be here, and let me just say, I am grateful to be here today." It was like, I'm telling you, craziest situation. Um, so anyway, Eric in Colorado. See, I remembered. I can't even pronounce words, but Eric said he's from Colorado. I remember. Shout out to Emily. I assume also in Colorado from your fiance Eric. It's super cool. You guys watch my videos. I see comments. I don't know if you've ever made this comment, but I don't even know if if this is something you do or you share the videos or whatever. But man, sometimes I see comments where it's like, me and my girlfriend or me and my wife, like we watched your videos, like we spent Saturday night like binging your videos. And that's just like, man, it blows my mind that like there's people out there that like, could enjoy my content, bringing it back to the millennial stuff, the way, me and my buddies or me and my girlfriend used to like watch movies back in the 90s or 2000s before we had YouTube. The thing is, like, I never YouTube. I didn't really like get into YouTube until I was like in my 20s, and it definitely wasn't what it is now. And my point is, like, there was never like it was never a thought to like, oh, let's binge YouTube or let's watch YouTube together. So anyway, it's just like, it's really cool to hear that. And congratulations on the engagement. That's cool. I don't know how long it is or if you have wedding plans, but that's a really cool thing. So congratulations. Can't hear me. Backyard can't hear me. Wait, are you messing with me, Backyard? Ricardo, what's up? It's been a minute. I did not realize Hit 'em Up had Pac in the profile pic. Oh, all I see is like a guy in a blue background. I can't see the thing. So I appreciate it. Gotta hit him up. Oh man, me and my buddy still text that. Again, bringing it back to millennial culture. One thing that we got that isn't existent anymore. I've said this once. I've said it a million times. Like, we can quote stuff and we'll run quotes. And me and my buddy who love Pac, and he came to my school in 8th grade, and we made friends because we both love Tupac, and we'll still text each other, hit them up, like, immature 13-year-olds. That's why. First off, I can't even say this stuff on live. Oh, great song. Is volume low? I'll turn it up a little bit. Now tell me if I'm too loud. Does that sound better? I'm hitting yellow a little bit there. Oh, I bet that's perfect. Sound better? If I'm too loud, let me know. But all right, before I get into my crazy story of why I am, grateful I'm here, we got to update the count. As you know, past the 5K, I'm running the free cam Friday promotion because I have a ton of dash cameras. And I got a ton of books, and I don't have the marketing dollars to give out these books for free. But I do think if I can, drum up some excitement and recognition about how crazy Uber is, by you guys submitting your own Uber stories, I think drivers understand how crazy Uber can be, but hopefully draw some attention to my book, The Unbelievable Stories of Driving Uber, and as doing so, give out dash cameras to those of you who submit the stories that are crazy enough to get the W. All right, perfect. Thank you. I appreciate the tip, and now I know where I can find it on the volume bar where I know it's just good. So my goal is to get to 5,000 copies because a very famous and successful author once said the only book marketing that matters is getting 5,000 copies into circulation, and if it's good enough, word of mouth will take care of the rest. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so tired. I can't even think right now. So last week, first stream, we hit 5 books. My goal was 5 books, and we hit 5 books before the stream was over. Second stream, we did not sell a single book while streaming. However, afterwards, an order came through. One order came through. I took a picture of it. I put a post on the what do you call that thing? um, community page. Man, I gotta wake up. I gotta lock in. I gotta lock in. One book came through. Then refreshed the Audible. This was today's Friday. On Wednesday, 5 downloads came through. Sometimes they lag a little bit, so I can't say exactly when that was. And then I saw the Kindle. 2 ebooks were ordered. That's definitely delayed. So not only, and then I refreshed again. There were 6 audiobooks downloaded, so we're up to 60 audiobooks. There were 2 paperbacks ordered. There was one right away. Shout out to Joe from Connecticut, if I recall correctly. There were 2 paperbacks ordered, and we got 2 ebooks. So we are up to, I said it in a recent video, I didn't think I was over 300. And now we are up to, let's do some quick math. I can't think right now. 231 plus 88 is going to be 319 books. So we've crossed the 300 mark. Apparently we crossed it a couple weeks ago. I just didn't realize it. But we are at, I want to run that. Let's run the tally. How about we do this? Woo. How we do center this. So total 319. That math's correct, right? 231 plus 60 is 290. Yeah, that's right. And the goal today, and by today, obviously the stream is ideal, but today, I would love it. We're going to double this up. We're going to double this up, baby. We're going for 10 books, you know? And you know what? For every one of you here now, all 13 of you that are here right now, I want you to remember this, because I just know if I stick with this, it's a good book. I know it's a good book. And I know it's a book that I think part of what really makes it great. I mean, listen, I've been beating on my craft for years, so I don't even feel like I'm being braggadocious when I say it's a good book and when I say I'm a good storyteller. Because if anything, I'm of the camp where it's like, honestly, it's embarrassing that it's taken me this long to feel comfortable saying that I'm a good storyteller. And at the end of the day, I don't care who you are, what you're doing. If you work at something long enough, you're going to get good at it. It's just the way it goes. So I don't even feel like I'm bragging when I say I know these are good stories in there. But I think what really sets this book apart is that there's not a lot of voices like mine out there. I think every Uber driver out there will tell you one of the most frustrating parts about this job is that, you know, we don't have any say. You know, it's like the company we're working with, not working for, working with, they're trying to like undercut us every, you know, corner possible. And so like if the own company you're working with isn't listening to you, people outside of it aren't listening to you. So I think what's really interesting about my book is that it's a fresh perspective that I know a lot of people have, but it's not a perspective that's published. It's not a perspective that's, you know, broadcasted in the media. And, you know, if you don't believe me, how much I've tried to, you know, go through a traditional route and get a publisher and get an agent, and they're not interested because of a lot of reasons that I don't want to share, but you can, you know, piece it together. I mean, honestly, the reason is I'm not even going to get into it, but if you don't even believe, and I'm not going to, you know, whine about it or anything like that, but just look around, you know, look around how many, you know, blue collar or working class people are getting the microphone, you know, on the nightly news. How many people are, you know, getting blown up on the you know, in the newspaper, whatever it is. So, social media, whatever it is. So, anyway, that's why I like, and it's honest. It's honest. That's the difference in my book. I'm done pitching my book right now, but that's why I'm excited about it. And yeah. So, all right. Goal for this week, 10 books. We're getting there. And we got 2 submissions. But before we get to that, I just want to share with you guys the craziest 36, 72 hours I've had. So, on July 31st, what's today's date? The 22nd. 22 days ago. 23, depending on how you count it. That always confused me about Easter. I remember sitting in church and they say he died and rose 3 days later. It's like, well, how do you count your days? Because you do Friday, if it's Friday and I'm like 3 days from now, I don't think anyone else is thinking Sunday. But if you count Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it's like, all right, that's 3. So anyway, depending on how you count your days, 23 days ago, July 31st, tree next to my house. It's not even on my property. It's across the driveway, struck by lightning. I don't know if I've never had an experience like this before. I didn't know how this works. Even though it's on the other side of the driveway, everything on that side of the house was fried. Even my neighbor behind me lost his TV, but that might have been a separate storm. I'm not sure. But point is, lost my TV, modem, lights, everything close to that side of the house just fried. That was, whatever. When it was raining out, when the tree dried, you could see where the lightning went down the tree. Like you could see there was the normal bark and then like the bark down the streak, like just was raw, right? I don't know anything about lightning. I just thought, just wrapped around the tree and whatever it was. So just by chance, a friend of mine who's a horticulturalist, shout out to Temple, went to Temple Ambler for any of you who are familiar with it. I went to Temple myself, but in North Philly, but we would go up to visit that campus, beautiful campus. Anyway, he came over to, give an estimate for a separate job, and I am just thanking my lucky stars that I thought to tell him, because he was like, oh yeah, man, that's not good. Any sort of crack in the tree, I was like, look, you can see where it hit. There's a crack now. And just like a week and a half ago, I noticed there was like a crack forming. The crack wasn't always there. And he was like, oh, that's got to come down. Water gets in there, it separates. And I was like, when's it? But you know how he's like, I don't know how long, but you should get that checked out. So I'm like eyeing up this crack, and every day it's getting worse and worse. Now the property that the property that the tree is on, who the tree belongs to, I haven't seen the guy in a while. So I text him. And I'm like, hey, man, I haven't seen you in a while. I've been meaning to talk to you about the tree. There's a crack in there, and it's getting worse. And he goes, oh, I'm actually out of the country right now on his honeymoon, poor guy. And we were planning on figuring out when we get home in a week. And I'm like, wait a second. I don't know if this can wait, 10 days, because I'm looking at this crack every day and it's like coming down. And so I'm texting him, and he was awesome. He was super cool about it. I mean, I feel bad because he's not only not there, but this is his honeymoon. He's like making these big decisions. And it's like, I really felt bad, but I'm telling you, I'm looking at this tree, and we get arborist to come out. The first guy that came out, he's like, dude, I will cancel my job tomorrow and get this here. Like, this thing needs to come down ASAP, or it is falling directly on your house. And I mean, we all sleep like literally right under the tree. And literally every day you can like buy the one arborist came over in the morning and then he came back later at night. Like, you could notice a difference in the size of the crack in just like 8 hours. So then scheduled to come today. I go out this morning, and there's a crack further down the tree. Basically the crack was just growing exponentially by the hour. And I talked to the guy who, moral story, obviously I'm here, they got the tree down, but I talked to the guy who went up there, and he was like, he almost snapped at me a little bit when he saw me. He was like, hey, when did you order this job? And I was like, whoa. I was like, I just met Mike yesterday, and you guys came out today. He's like, oh, all right, I won't have to yell at him then, because basically he was like, if this was a job that was like put off, that would have been unacceptable. And, thankfully it wasn't. Honestly, it's the opposite. The guy who came out, M&G Trees, could not for those of you local, would not recommend anyone else. he made it an urgent thing, and I thank God he did. So the guy who went up there cutting it was like, I didn't think it would last. Just me getting up there to cut it, and he had to put a bind on it. And I don't know anything about what that is. I was like, what, is that attached to something? He's like, no, I had to tie a rope around it, a bind around it, just to keep it from splitting apart, just in the time he was up there. So, yeah, so, and like, dude, if you looked at the tree, like it was a 110-foot tree, it was leaning directly towards our house. So, moral of the story is, have not been sleeping. Every night I'm like, every little crack, every little wind, I'm like, is this it? If it wasn't taken care of today, I wasn't gonna sleep in my house. So I'm glad it was taken care of today. I'm glad everyone's okay. That's my story. I don't know how well that was told because I have not told it yet. I haven't even like pieced it all together. But dude, that was just like insane. All right, but that's where we are. I did not have a tree fall in my house. We hit our goal last week. We're going for 10 goals this week. And today we have 2 submissions. Free Camera Friday, brought to you by 70 My Dash Cams. They're actually sponsoring an upcoming video, and they have a dash camera that has forward-facing 4K recording and rear-facing 4K recording. And personally, I've never seen a rear camera with 4K recording. So I think that's pretty cool. I'm excited to try that out and show you guys. All right, so 2 submissions for today's episode of Free Camera Friday, episode number 3, brought to you by 70 My Dash Cameras. This first story is submitted by Mike from Durham, North Carolina. I titled it Pickup in the Hood, kind of. That wasn't his title. I read the story. I wanted to give you guys the same emotions I went through while reading it. So I didn't want to, have the title give anything away. All right, here we go. I've only been doing Uber about 2 months or so. June 6th, I started. Oh, a newbie. I'll tell you my favorite trip so far. I was in Durham, North Carolina, and it was my first weekend doing Uber. I didn't really know how the algorithm worked or anything, so my first night I kept declining rides while I had passengers because I was like, why would I accept a ride with someone in my car? Makes sense if you don't know what's going on. The correct answer, by the way, is why would I was hoping you would say, why would I accept a ride that pays less than minimum wage? I don't know what North Carolina's like, but if you get upfront fares and you see how much you're going to make, you should be able to tell, like, this ride's worth it, this ride's not. I mentioned that to one of my passengers, and they were like, no, that's going to lower your score, and sure enough, my acceptance rate was 15%. So the rest of the weekend, I just accepted every ride offered to me. Rookie mistake. Mike, it seems as though you've learned. And for those of you who don't know, especially passengers, because I do get a lot of passengers still saying that, they're like, won't that affect your acceptance rate? And it's like, yeah, but that doesn't matter. If your acceptance rate is above 20%, you're probably making bad decisions. Because in my experience working Uber, 80% of rides that they offer, honestly, 90% of rides they offer aren't worth it to take. And your acceptance rate should reflect that. Because if you continue to just accept whatever they offer, they're just going to keep giving you less and less money. I have a video about this. Lower and lower rate. And it's a common misconception, but it's literally illegal. I mean, it's illegal to do a lot of what Uber does, but they can't deplatform you for having a low acceptance rate. You're a contractor. It's like a plumber can't get, lose his plumbing license because he doesn't accept low-paying jobs, right? Like it's a crazy thought to think that, they would get sued. They would get sued if they deplatformed. You could sue them, I should say, if they reject you for your acceptance rate. So it's a myth that Uber drivers need to worry about their acceptance rate. And if you are an Uber driver, your acceptance rate should be below 20%. Otherwise, you're just like very lucky and getting good offers all the time, or you're just accepting bad rides. All right, so the rest of the weekend, I accepted every ride offered to me. Rookie mistake. But I'm in Durham, and it's Sunday morning, and it's kind of the hood, so to speak. And I was picking someone up from some really rundown apartments with paint chipping off the walls outside and broken down cars in the parking lot, etc. It's so funny. The reason I titled it Kind of the Hood is because it's a funny, I think every driver, every person knows it, but when you're driving Uber, it's even funnier. You're always trying to like piece together where am I and what's going on. And there's always that in between where it's like, all right, this isn't a bad enough neighborhood where I like need to be scared, but it's also like not the nicest neighborhood either. So I should like be aware, I feel like a lot of Delco's like that. I just love that description because I'm like, I know, never been to Durham, North Carolina, but I know exactly the kind of area you're in. All right, broken down cars in the parking lot. I said it, and they get in, and I'm like, "Hey, man, are you so and so? We're going to the Dollar Tree, right?" And they're like, "Yeah." I immediately get offered a ride after starting the ride, so of course I accept. It was a short trip to the Dollar Tree, maybe 5 miles, and as I drop them off, I get a phone call through the Uber app. It's from the next passenger, so I answer, and I'm like, "Hello, this is Mike," and he says, "Se hablo español?" And I do. I took 6 years of Spanish in middle and high school, but I don't want the full speed Spanish. So I say, hablo un poquito, which means I speak a little bit. And he says, no hablo inglés. And cuando vas a llegar? I don't know what that means. I know I don't speak English, but cuando vas a llegar? I tell him 5 minutos, and he hangs up. I'm guessing he asked how long until you're here, and he said 5 minutes. I absolutely love. I speak Spanish. I took 6 years in middle and high school, but I don't want the full speed Spanish. That's amazing. I love that. The full speed. It's funny you say that because I took 2 years of Spanish. Mi español es muy mal. I actually have a video I've been meaning to post for a while. I pick up this woman who only speaks Spanish. And, we're playing along, trying to have a little Spanglish conversation. But I've just always thought that Spanish speaking people speak fast. And I don't know if they actually speak fast or if that's just what the language sounds like. So the fact that you said full speed Spanish, I'm like, yes, that is definitely a thing. Because, there are English speakers that like speak slow and English speakers that speak fast. I've never heard a Spanish speaker speak slow, ever, once in my life. I just don't know if that language allows for that. So I love that. So I look for his house number on the mailbox. It's like 117 or something like that. And it's a house with a long gravel driveway, and I see someone on the back porch leaning over the rail, flagging me down. So I head towards the back, and he goes inside. So like right now, as a driver, I'm like, okay, we're in not the nicest neighborhood. This guy doesn't speak my language, so like I don't know how I'm going to communicate with him. So like, and a long gravel driveway, I can't see it. I don't like driving into places where I like don't have a immediate escape. And I hear the little noise from the Uber app, which signals it's been more than 2 minutes, and it says charging the rider for wait time. So I'm like, well, I might as well sit here and get paid. So I start reading an ebook. Man, I wish you would have pulled on my heartstrings and said I started reading Driver's Ed ebook, but I appreciate the honesty. Honestly, if you said that, I probably would have thought it was BS anyway. So I appreciate the honesty. And I love the fact that you're reading. I also love, I think it's cool that you're willing to do that. If I'm in an area like that, I might be having my ears pierced a little bit, scrolling because, it doesn't require as much attention. It's been 5 minutes. And then about 9 minutes, I see movement out of the corner of my eye. It's 3 pairs of feet. Uh-oh, suspense. So I look up, and one of them has a trumpet. One of them has a big guitar in a zipper case, and I'm not sure what the third instrument was. But I have a Camry, and the guitar definitely wasn't going to fit in my trunk. I'm like, what the hell is this? I pop the trunk, and the two put their instruments in there, and the guy with the big guitar case just sits in the back seat with it cocked to the side a little bit. I'm like, are y'all in a band? They said, yes, we're a mariachi band, and we have an event today. We are meeting two of our bandmates in Raleigh. I was able to speak some Spanish to them for the 15-minute ride or so, and they were from Sinaloa. I don't know if that's a different country, bringing it back to our Georgia comment that started this stream. I don't know if that's somewhere in North Carolina or if that's another country. And they worked in construction, mostly concrete. And at the end, the guy with the guitar, I guess, is the one that called me, and he's like, thanks for the ride, and he gives me a $5 cash tip. But I tell people, I guess he said de nada for the ride and gave him a $5 cash tip. But I always tell people I picked up half of a mariachi band. That I thought was very funny. I love the twist there. I thought it was going a different direction. And I love that you can speak Spanish. That is really cool. That cracks me up. I love that. Very cool. Very cool story. Little feel good Uber. Honestly, it's stories like that where I love Uber, man. Like, that is just a fun experience. I always say, like, what kind, you just get a perspective on the world. There's no other scenario where I would ever find myself speaking with three guys in a mariachi band. Like, never. And that's why I love Uber. That's why Uber's really cool. All right, story number 2. Sinaloa is in Mexico. There we go. Thank you. Gracias, Ricardo. Muchos gracias. Yo tengo 2 años español en la escuela. Pero muy mal. Muy mal. All right, story number 2. Submission number 2. This is the only other submission for today. So here we go. It's going to be between the mariachi band and Stalking My Passenger, submitted by Zach Pot. I picked up this timid guy and his brown paper bag from the back of a strip mall. Nice. Nice little saying he's drinking without drinking. You always got to love pulling up to somebody who's maybe he wasn't drinking. Maybe I read that wrong. Maybe that's just me being in Philly where everybody drinks. I was taking him from what I presumed was work to a gas station about 15 miles away. Oh, wait, maybe I assumed right. See, I don't know if this is a brown paper bag for lunch or he's drinking. I'm going to assume he's drinking. So picking this guy up work, taking him to a gas station 15 miles away. I missed an exit at the confusing interchange, but we were rerouted and the ETA didn't change. I said, sorry about that, my bad, but he didn't respond. Just a slight crinkle sound from his bag. I was expecting 1 star. Zachpot messed up. After I dropped him off, he didn't go into the gas station, but instead walked past the door and disappeared behind the building. It was weird. I got pinged for another pickup and was routed down a dirt road where my headlights illuminated the brown paper bag man standing to the side. I know exactly. I hate that. So I'm glad it's a dude, and I'm assuming Zach's a dude. When something like this happens with women, it is like the worst thing ever, because you want to like yell out the window and be like, yo, I'm not following you. I'm just following the app. Like, especially it sounds like it's night, shining lights on him. He went behind a gas station, so it sounds like they're in like they're on a dirt road behind a gas station. So like, Zach probably felt like such a weirdo, like such a creep. So he turned as I passed, and I wondered if he recognized the vehicle or license plate, and I hope he didn't think I was following him. Exactly. The next passenger was arrived with 1 stop to the same gas station and then back to the trailer. So you're going to have to pass. I know where this is going. So I make a U-turn and backtrack down the dirt road. After just a few seconds, I see the previous passenger again walking towards us on this side of the road. He looks up as I pass, doing 20 due to potholes. Once again, dirt road. I hope he doesn't recognize me. As we completed the stop and made our way back to the trailer park, the dirt road was empty this time. As I was telling my passenger about the time Uber navigation tried to lead me into a dense forest with no road, I've been there, we turned onto the paved trailer park, and once again the headlights shone on this paper bag guy standing in the island dividing the entrance and exit lanes. I had to pass him super slowly because of a speed bump. So you've passed this guy 4 times now. At night. All right. I had to pass by him as I was leaving the park after. Sorry, 3 times. As I was leaving the park after the drop off, I was again approaching paper bag guy. Car has auto brights, so it turned them off and on based on the presence of cars around me. As I rode out up to him for the 4th time, another car was about to turn onto the road towards us. This caused the auto bright system to blink on and off in a second as the other car came into view. So I passed by this guy for the 4th time, super slowly for the 4th time, over the speed bump, and flashed my brights at him. I wondered if he thought I was circling him. It was dark, so it was hard to see that he already had another passenger in the car. The fact that I dropped him off at the gas station, but his real destination was in the trailer park, also makes me wonder if he didn't want his driver knowing his real address, which would suck because he proceeded to be circled by said driver multiple times. And he also missed an exit. So at that point, he might have looked like he was trying to kidnap him too. But he tipped me, and I realized he probably had no idea who the fuck I was the whole time. And again, that is like another thing you learn about Uber. It's like the stories you make up in your head and the way you think you're seeing things. It's like there was one instance where it didn't happen to me, but there was a guy who he was telling me this story where he was like sure he was going to get jumped while driving Uber. Super creepy guy. And like the guy was ruffling around in his pockets like he thought he was going to pull something out. And here, dude was just pulling out money to tip him. And it's like the stories you play in your head, it's just funny what a human mind does, you know? And I know it's the same with riders. I know it's really funny. All right, so we got 2 submissions today. What's up? What's up, legend Dave Calabro? That man's the GOAT right there. Fastest hands in Delaware County. So anyway, got 2 submissions today. I will put on the poll what you guys want. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to download this video instead of just having a ride along, like I don't know if you saw my video, but I put the other stories in like just dash cam footage. I think I'm just going to download this story and cut out the parts where I'm reading the story and, just to give people the story. And, we can have the book promotion up there. And, I really appreciate you guys coming out. Ricardo, también español muy mal. Also Spanish, very bad. Or un poquito. Cool stuff. Well, hey, I appreciate you guys coming out. I'm sorry I'm so tired today. I can like feel my words not forming the way I want them to. Crazy. Es loco. Es pollo tree? No, pollo's chicken. Arbor or something? Ricardo, how do you say tree in Spanish? But seriously, appreciate you guys coming out. Congrats to Vaquero for his dash cam win. Vote on, let me know in the comments or the poll when I post who should win the pickup in the hood kind of, or stalking my passenger. And also 2 years in Spanish. Oh, Rillick, former Spanish teacher. Loco pollo tree. Loco pollo tree. Arbo, that's it. Yeah. There's no chicken tree. All right. Before I go, I will share one Spanish story. As a former Spanish teacher, you might appreciate it. So I took Spanish in 7th and 8th grade was very bad. Everybody always laughed at me because, I used my Delco accent in Spanish class, which I'm like, I feel like there's a stand-up joke about this. Somebody, I feel like I saw something like this. It's like when people say croissant, you know, like people be like, yeah, I'll have one croissant, and they'll put on this French accent. And it's like, I think the joke was like when French people are speaking French, they don't like do something French, and then McDonald's, they just say McDonald's, like they're French. My point is, it's like, when I was learning Spanish, I'm like, why would I speak in a Spanish accent? When Spanish people speak English, they don't put on a Delco accent. They just, speak with their regular accent. Words are words. The accent aren't the words. But so anyway, I always had a Delco accent in Spanish class. My teacher liked me. I tried enough. I was entertaining enough in class. Caused some problems. There's one time I thought I was being funny. I poured water on the girl sitting in front of me seat. Thought it was a harmless little joke. I was friends with her. She didn't like it. Ran out of the room crying. I still feel bad about that. So I was like, joke gone wrong. Again, I was friendly with the girl. We were friendly after. But maybe she was having a day and I didn't pick up on it. Maybe she was having a day and I was trying to cheer her up with a little joke. And, a lot of times I'm not very good at that. So, I still feel bad about it. So the point of the story is my Spanish teacher liked me for the most part when I, wasn't being a total jackass. But when I was being a funny jackass, she liked me. Point is, sucked at Spanish, took 2 years, bare minimum. I go to Temple College. And at that point, my Spanish teacher is actually a professor at Temple teaching Spanish. And I have to take there's like a language requirement that I have to do. So I'm like, I see her on the train. I was commuting home. And I was like, whoa, what are you doing here? She's like, oh, I'm teaching Spanish at Temple now. I was like, I go to Spanish and I need a language requirement. I'm going to take your class. I'm like, she knows me from high school. This will be an easy A, right? Or at least not a fail. So sign up, first day of class, go in there. Señorita Ramirez. Let me try to say this in Espanol. No uno word. Paraba. No uno, no poquito inglés hablo. Not one word of English was spoken. Not a single word. And finally, I'm like raising my hand and I'm struggling. Finally, she breaks, I don't want to say breaks character because she's, I think she grew up speaking Spanish. But she broke her rule of no English being spoken in that class to tell me there will not be any English spoken in this class. And then went back to speaking Spanish. And I dropped that class immediately. I'm like, I don't care how much she likes me. There is no way I am making it through this class. But yeah. So that's my Spanish story. Yins estás loco, ese. Yins. What is yins? Yins is Pittsburgh for you all. You are all loco. Before you go, my little sister was in Philly a little while ago for the lacrosse tournament. Very cool. And she said Wawa is one of her new favorite spots. Nice. Speaking of, Wawa is running an amazing deal right now. $5 for a 32-ounce coffee, a breakfast sandwich, and a hash brown. I've been crushing that every single day. Yes, Wawa has got it all. Wawa's my go-to, man. Absolutely love Wawa. Geez, your teacher did that in the second year. That's crazy. Hey, I wonder what the lacrosse tournament was. I was actually working with a lacrosse, not a lacrosse promotion company. It was like a lacrosse event company. Like they put on lacrosse tournaments. That'd be really funny if it was. I was just helping them with their social media. I wasn't at any of the events though. But I mean, that's super cool. Coming all the way out from LA. I actually played lacrosse in high school, and just to see how much the sport has moved in 20 years, like, the Mid Atlantic is a huge hotspot for lacrosse. All the way up to Long Island and down to Lake Baltimore. But it's really cool to see see it expand. It's really neat. So that's cool. Cool stuff. I wonder where in Philly she was. Oh my goodness, it's already 4 o'clock. I gotta shake and bake, my friends. This was a lot of fun. Thanks for coming out. Very cool. Oh yeah. Yins is Pittsburgh. U's would be Delco. IWLA. No, I don't think. No, that wasn't it. Yins is Pittsburgh. U's is like Philly, Delco. So you could say, U's estás loco, ese. But isn't ese like friend or like homie? So you could say like, U's essays estás loco, which I know isn't the way you speak Spanish. Use. There you go. Now it's coming back to you. Now you can picture yourself in the Wawa line having, the cashier getting yelled at by some disgruntled Eagles fan. You said you would have my hoagie ready. Yo, you said you'd have my hoagie ready in 3 minutes, and I'm going to miss the Birds kickoff because you're lollygagging back there. Like, what's going on? Yeah, I'm so tired, man. That was like the worst Delco accent I've ever done in my life. All right, guys. This was a lot of fun. I would like to say I should go get some sleep, but I have a lot of things to do. So it's all good. It's all good. Life's good. I'm here, baby. Like Delco Dan said, I'm grateful to be here. All right, guys. Catch you next week. Submit stories, best dash cam footage, and vote when the poll's up. I love it. All right, see you guys. Thanks for coming out.